Hey, this is Kevin Couchman of the podcast Get This. It's a show about things people are thankful for today because I'm coming to you from the St. Paul studio next to the growing tent city in the capital of the great state of Minnesota on Thursday, November 26th, which can only mean that we're having an illicit turkey. We're having an illegal turkey. And I'm joined by my good friend of the show, classic podcast host himself, Brad Kelly. Brad, how are you?
I'm pretty good, man. Feeling grateful, feeling a little paranoid. You know, I was driving in my car earlier. I saw a cop, and I was like, reminded me of being a young man when I was doing illegal things. Mm-hmm. And so, so it's good. Keeps you on your toes. You know, keeps you feeling alive.
They really drilled into our brains, didn't they? They really got us this year.
They did. I consider me got. Yeah.
You look like so you're dressed right now for people who are listening and not watching on YouTube, although Get This is on YouTube. You look like that Doomer character, the meme guy. You're wearing the hoodie. Right. Yeah. You gave up smoking, but I mean, if you had continued smoking and drinking the way that we had in grad school, you would look like that guy.
Yeah. Just kind of like beady-eyed and like blown out and just, yeah.
And, well, you got the beer there. That's good. Yep. Digging that. Yeah.
Well, there was a time where I could have zigged, and that's where I'd be. And I, for whatever reason, grace of God, I zagged.
Right. You zagged to the gym, I think is what you did.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. You got cut.
Yeah.
So that's good. So it is Thanksgiving, and Brad comes on the show periodically here. Typically, this is an interview podcast where I talk to somebody about something they love, but I thought Brad and I hadn't connected in a while, so it was overdue to sort of catch up. And Brad, you're an author, and of course you're in Michigan still, correct?
I am in the Detroit area. Yeah. Full circle.
So, how's the vibe out there?
It's, it's okay. It's, they still see Trump flags, so that's interesting. And so, I don't know what I find myself curious what those people are feeling like, but it's surprisingly, we had what I feel like during all of this, not that I've been anywhere else since March, but I feel like we've got like less tension and paranoia and stress than other places for some reason. I don't have any good explanation for that.
I don't mean to be negative here, but isn't the baseline in Detroit is a certain degree of...
Yeah. Well, it depends on your zip code, but that's true.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the Twin Cities right now, and everybody on the coast and things is freaking out about the long, dark winter. And everyone here just goes, oh, yeah? Well, what then?
Really?
Oh, really? It's going to be a long, dark winter.
Yeah.
Don't you know? Yeah. Sure. Well, I mean, it's always a long, dark winter here.
Mm-hmm.
What are you?
Oh, yeah, same here,
really
man. 5:30 p.m., it's getting dark.
Right. I mean, typically you'd have bowling alleys, you'd have curling. Yeah. We are missing a lot of stuff here. In addition to the churches and everything, I find it fascinating, for example, that strip clubs are open in California and churches are not. Did you see this story on the tweeters about the pastor who held his service at a strip club?
Yes, and there was some note about, and I don't know if this was a joke or what, but there was some bit in there about how, in order to be in compliance with the regulations, he took off his tie, right? like as a striptease. That guy is whoever that guy is. He is based. I will tell you.
Correct. Yeah, based like turkey based. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what did you do? And I don't want you to say anything. I preface. In pre-production for every episode, guests will tell you, I warn people, I say, hey, look, if you say something that's going to get you arrested or is going to get you to lose your job, I will edit it out, although I prefer not to. So I don't want you to talk too much about your Thanksgiving if you're afraid of the thinky police coming at you or the literal police coming at you. But what did you do for Thanksgiving?
We went up to... My lovely wife and I went up to my parents, who live not too far from the city of Detroit, and we basically hung out in their living room while they hung out in the kitchen. So we had about 10 feet of distance, and when we wore our masks except when we were eating, and my mom handled everything, usually like I would help with dishes and that kind of stuff, but just to keep distance, she sort of like brought us out food and wearing a mask and gloves, and then like went back into the kitchen, and we were close enough. We were able to talk and stuff, but it felt weird for sure. It felt like vaguely prison visitation-ish. Like, I feel like that's what prison visitation is like in like Norway. Not an American prison.
Yes, of course. Yeah. In a civilized country.
Right.
Yeah. Let's just pause there and say that we do hope that Ghislaine Maxwell is having a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope that she remembers to say grace before they shake her awake. Did you
every 15 minutes?
What is that? I mean, that's torture. That was an odd story. I don't know what to make of that.
Well, also, do you really need to wake someone up to determine whether they're alive or not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that's what it's for,
right?
And I'm not going to stand up on a soapbox demanding the Ghislaine Maxwell's human rights. I really don't care. But like, really, you got to wake her up completely, and then like what? She's got to like.
Yeah. Couldn't you put a mirror in front of her face every 15 minutes?
Don't they get like in hospitals? How do they know people are alive in hospitals?
Well, it is possible that this is part of the lizard person theory.
Right.
They may have to wake her up every 15 minutes. Dude.
Yeah, she might not have a pulse. That is true.
We're going down a deep hole, especially if the prison is cold, if her body temperature.
She just gradually is just shutting down, It's
right.
Like a snake. They don't die, but if it's 50 degrees out, they kind of like semi-hibernate.
Right. Somebody comes in and just hits her with a little stick every 15 minutes. She's alive. Well, pick it up. That was good. It was good because that snake accent was the accent of a British socialite snake.
Yeah. I figured. I've been practicing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You really nailed it. That was the RP accent of the snake. Right. So we got that out of the way. What I've been doing this week, thanks for asking, is I'm preparing for Davos. I'm very excited about that. I was just looking.
Are you doing a PowerPoint there?
No, I'm doing a keynote at Davos, and it's on the subject of big thinky for the next future. I don't know. I was looking at their website, and it's just so miserable. You can just see the bug man quality, the bug person quality coming off of their pages. If you want to have fun, go to the World Economic Forum website, WE Forum, and go to the careers section. Woo, doggy. Right. Wow. Yeah. WE Forum, careers.
All right. So with Davos is, what is the official, like, what does Davos purport to be?
It's the annual
Davos.
It's the annual Dave Matthews Band Juggalo meeting.
It's gotten really out of hand. It took a direction nobody really anticipated.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the annual World Economic Summit Forum, or World Economic Forum Summit, or whatever. I don't know. You're on the website. You can find out. Let me.
Davos and World Economic Forum are like.
I possibly it could be that the WEF or whatever. I don't know. We'd have to look it up. I'm going to pull up my screen and we'll have a gander. Because why not?
I'm on the World Economic Forum. Well, I just want to say I'm grateful for the world on this Thanksgiving Day. I'm grateful for the World Economic Forum. I'm sure they're doing a lot of great things.
Right. Things are going so well that I appreciate anyone who's been involved in quote unquote planning the future for the last 60 years. Excellent work, boys.
Yeah, I like that they have a manifesto.
What does their manifesto say?
It's the Davos Manifesto. So let's see what we got here. Is that it?
What is going on here?
Oh, there wasn't
Economic Forum. It's .org, of course.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Well, let's have a look here. Let's go to the careers section. Let's see here. Oh no, they do have a manifesto. That seems like a good place to start.
Yeah.
And can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
All right. To coincide, nothing to see there. Klaus Schwab.
Yeah. So you got to go up. If you scroll up a little bit, There's a little
Oh,
tab up there
there's
that
another
takes you to the
tab.
actual manifesto.
Okay, let's read the
I
manifesto.
think.
I'm very excited. Well, it doesn't appear to. Hmm. Oh, I don't know. There, maybe everything's up in the air. Oh no, here we are. The universal purpose of a company in the fourth industrial revolution. Oh, it's the new manifesto.
Jesus.
Oh, wow. Well, this is
Wow.
quite long.
It's got bullet. It's like, yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let's read the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
And the purpose of a company is to engage all its stakeholders in shared and sustained value creation. In creating such value, a company serves not only its shareholders, but all its stakeholders, employees, customers, suppliers, local communities, and society at large. The best way to understand and harmonize the divergent interests of all stakeholders is through a shared commitment to policies and decisions that strengthen the long-term prosperity of a company. So they're trying to move the definition of corporate policy writ large. The purpose of a company now is to, that's so interesting. It doesn't sound bad.
Not necessarily. I mean, honestly, it sounds like 50% just like kind of corporate bullshit. Like we need to shift our paradigm to a synergistic, like one of those things that doesn't actually say anything.
But it does sound to me like they are bringing, and I'm not using this word in a boogeyman way. They're bringing socialist principles into the corporate ideology is what it sounds like. They want the corporations to behave more holistically
as like a citizen with interdependencies on other citizens. Somewhat.
Yes. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is
which I think on the face of it, that's I guess that's fine. I mean,
I'm not so sure.
I don't know.
The general aesthetic of this website makes me want to grab a shotgun.
Dude, I'll tell you that. A really bad website, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you feel like somebody else has a better idea of how your life should be lived than you do. The whole thing just oozes this kind of bureaucratic, technocratic version. I've seen websites like this. I've been around them, and it is a sort of a gross quality to this. I'm going to read the number C, or letter C here.
Okay.
There's a lot more to this.
Yeah.
A company, I find this interesting. A company that has a multinational scope of activities not only serves all those stakeholders who are directly engaged, but acts itself as a stakeholder together with governments and civil society of our global future. Corporate global citizenship requires a company to harness its core competencies, its entrepreneurship, skills, and relevant resources in collaborative efforts with other companies and stakeholders to improve the state of the world. So it's not just your job to sell widgets in Duluth and somewhere in Canada, right, in Winnipeg. You also have to be thinking about the global future and other stakeholders globally. I find this just very interesting. This is globalism. This is really, when it's not some made up conspiracy theory. I mean, and they put it all right here on this website.
Now, is the World Economic Forum also the originator of this phrase I've been seeing bouncing around the internet of in the future you will own nothing and be happy?
Yes, I believe that is. So I think the point is that this language in this manifesto is for the C-suite and for the HR people and for the shareholders. But for us, they want us to know we're going to be renters forever. You're not going to own that Tesla. You're going to lease it. You're not going to own that house. You're going to rent it. And you're going to have the approved monitoring device, from the internet. The whole grid, just the panopticon grid that they've been, unleashed.
Well, I mean, are you saying you don't want to participate in the global future?
Dude, I don't even think we're allowed to go to Canada. I can't even go to the store without wearing a mask. Pretty soon we're going to have the chip. You have to have your paper. Do you have your papers? You want to come to Sydney, you must have your papers.
Right.
It's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't know. However, I have decided, because I'm morally bankrupt completely, there's nothing left. I have decided that I want a career.
Okay.
So let's see here.
Oh God, these are
Wow,
just,
they look. Oh, see, this is the thing. This is why I'm never gonna be part of this world. Is that I can't stand putting on a lanyard.
no, they're yeah.
Yeah,
You know how like in movies when Dracula gets like a Bible, like holy water tossed on him, and just goes,
hmm
that would be a lanyard if I were to put a lanyard
right.
around.
A lanyard is my crucifix.
Right, right.
Yeah, I just don't want to be anywhere where I have to put a lanyard on.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe like a theater camp, kind of a nerd.
Sure. Yeah, I'm joking. I would
Yeah, of
do it,
course.
but I don't
Yeah.
want to have to do it every
Wow.
day.
That's a really big apply here button.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really want you to apply. I
Are
think,
the
yeah. What are, but where are the
jobs?
careers? So they are. Did you just say where are the jobs? Because that's perfect. That's exactly it. There are no careers. This is all smoke and mirrors.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a lot of the jobs are in Japan, actually.
Well, okay, all right, but I don't see any jobs though.
Yeah, you got to click on the apply here, and then it will take you.
Oh,
It will take you.
Okay. Well, I'm obviously not intelligent enough to
Yeah, no,
work.
you've already failed, actually.
Agile Governance Project Lead, Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
What is the fourth industrial revolution, man?
Oh, let's go.
That sounds like some Steve Bannon stuff.
Well, let's dig into
Doesn't
that
it?
next, Brad Kelly. I'm thankful for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm sure it's going to lift up everybody in the tent city across from where I live in the capital of the state of Minnesota.
I mean, you should tell them there's at least 11 jobs here. You should tell some of those people in the tent
Mhm.
city that they should
Right.
apply here.
Why haven't you cleaned your room and gotten a job as project lead, data policy, and blockchain
Yeah.
regular, Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution and Global Network, Mumbai?
Well, what would it kind of previous experience
Yeah,
would make you?
these jobs are not for you and me. I'll tell you that much.
Do any of the people in the tent city across the street have let's see, it says here, do they have a passion for impact? Is that something that they have?
Do they have a passion for impact? Well, I do hear some fighting at the end of the night on the reg, and occasionally there are some loud noises. And by the way, I'm not mocking these people. This is a terrible thing. Minnesota is very cold in the winter.
Yeah.
They set up some porta potties over there. I don't know what's happening or what's being done. Yeah,
I'm not mocking them either, and I don't think you are. I
No.
think what we're mocking is the out of touchness of the sorts of people who run something like the World Economic Forum
Yes.
for what is actually happening for the average person.
right.
Yeah,
These are
that's what I'm
all
mocking.
these are all master's degree jobs for people coming out of Ivy League schools or the equivalent in Japan, I assume, or Oxford or whatever, to go and work directly with big international power, I assume. Project lead, Fourth Industrial Revolution for Agriculture, India. Fascinating. Well, so now we got to figure out what the Fourth Industrial Revolution is, Brad.
Yeah.
Shall we? All right, I'm going to stop sharing and
Take some guesses. I mean, I could make some guesses.
well, so why don't we guess first? That'll be fun.
I mean, it's got something to do. Here's one part of the guess I have. It doesn't have anything to do with making anything. Would be my guess.
Right. It probably has to do with managing what already exists and lowering the expectations of the developed world. Would be
not that they would say that overtly. And then it also probably has a lot to do with like re-engineering already existing products, whether that's genetically modifying things, which I'm not entirely against. But also it probably means big data, and also probably means roping more people and resources into the Internet of Things.
Right. And also, but for the developing world, getting them banked. Because right now there are unbanked people. So we got to get them into banking. But maybe that banking looks more like a kind of crypto or something that they can sort of monitor and track and all the rest. The one job in the United States, by the way, I'm still on the page because I might apply. The one job is in the United States is quite telling. Platform curator, future of consumption.
Oh, yeah.
Future of consumption.
That's it. In the future, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
That's what they're saying.
Which, listen, if isn't that the name of like a Radiohead album from the early aughts?
What?
In the future, you will own nothing and be happy.
It could be a song. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds
seriously.
like the
Bitter, better, happier, or whatever.
right. Yes, you're talking about OK Computer.
Yes.
Wow, this is just wonderful. Let me see here. Wow, it's so and there must be like 5 fonts on this page. It's horribly designed. Let me see. This corporate HREs, by the way, it just makes me want to like. It always makes me feel stabby. This sentence: self-starter and organized, thrives in highly dynamic environments.
Okay. All those are just made up.
Here's one: master's degree from a leading university. There you go. We're gonna decide what a leading university is. Right. Yeah. What pure hell on earth are these people? And they really have a plan for you and me. I've been near it, and
that's what I don't like.
They have a plan for us.
That's the part that I don't like. Is like, wait, so these people are the ones that are deciding what happens?
Well, and then when you meet them, they're the most humorless, ridiculous, buggy people with all the neuroses and all the problems of everybody else. And in addition to that, they're this, and I'm one to talk, but they're this urban, unrooted class of people who don't really have any way to relate to the people that they purport to manage. Right. I think we should look up the number of Americans who actually ever like move out of their state. It's not 90% of people who do that.
It's very few.
A lot of people stay planted and don't go and get the master's degree from the
and they don't go move to some IQ shredder in the pre-planned Blade Runner-esque Blade Runner with no clouds-esque dystopia.
Well, okay. So I think that you made some good guesses about the fourth industrial revolution. Should we look it up?
Yeah.
Industrial revolution. Okay. Well, that does seem to be. Oh, it's a book from Klaus Schwab. This seems to be an organization about this one dude. Yeah, this seems to be this one dude's thinky leader think. Place. Okay.
So this is a guy who's just figured out a way to like leverage other people's money, basically.
Yeah. He is the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. All right. Well,
I mean, anybody could say that.
Yeah. Right. Dude, it is modern life is you are playing Super Mario Brothers and you are hopping from block to block trying to avoid cults.
Right.
It's a cult. Yes, every year we meet in Davos and we listen to Herr Schwab. Yeah. It's wonderful. Yeah. And then what are you doing to further the fourth industrial revolution? Have you read the book?
Right.
I mean, what are you talking about? Yes, you have more money than guys. See, this is the thing. People have to realize cults have a lot of money. There are cults with a heck of a lot, and you can even be one of these people who goes, the Catholic Church is the biggest cult. Okay, great. They've got a lot of money. You can be on the payroll of a cult for a long time and not even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you swallowed the Kool-Aid.
Right.
Well, so let's see what it is. So it's Industry 4.0, ongoing automation of traditional manufacturing and industrial practices. So truck driver, forget about it. That's not a job for you in the future. Large-scale machine-to-machine communication. And Internet of Things, integrated for increased automation, improved communication, and self-monitoring, and production of smart machines that can analyze and diagnose issues without the need for human intervention. So forget about your job. Plumbing jobs.
Well, I think about this a lot because this sort of thing a lot because in one sense, on paper, I'm in favor of automating a bunch of stuff, right? If David Graeber talks about this. I mean, you're familiar with David Graeber from like the Bullshit Jobs
he passed away.
For the homie. And he's an interesting guy. I mean, he's a little bit more of an anarchist than maybe I would consider myself. But the one thing he talks about is there were a lot of thinkers in the early part of the 20th century who said that we would basically by now be working 15-hour weeks.
That's it. The gains are not equitably distributed.
Right. The plumber, they don't say to the plumber, hey, we don't need plumbers anymore. So how about you just work like 10 hours a week? You make the same living you did because all the money, the same amount of money is in circulation. And you provide like a kind of a management, or you provide like a customer service human face to the thing, or
and
something.
A backup should the machine fail.
Yeah. Instead, it's just like, dude, go pound sand. We don't need you anymore. Go learn to code.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and
they
don't.
Right. And that guy votes for Trump, and then they, in the media, degrade him methodically for years. Yeah, crazy.
So if the World Economic Forum people were saying as part of this fourth industrial revolution, like, hey, we got to then sort of redistribute some of these funds because they're way higher profit margins because we don't need people to do these jobs anymore. So we have to figure out a way to keep everybody afloat. And maybe the thing is, hey, everybody only works 20 hours a week now. I might be in favor of that. But that's not what it is.
That's not what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get the UBI, but then there'll be hyperinflation and et cetera, et cetera. Well, I like this. So here are some challenges to Industry 4.0. This is interesting. Social privacy concerns, surveillance and distrust, general reluctance to change by stakeholders.
I don't want to be called a stakeholder by anybody.
Yeah, right? No, yeah, exactly. I'm a stakeholder. You brought up Dracula earlier. I am a stakeholder in that sense. I have a stake, and I'm going to drive it through your goddamn heart if you drive this stuff further down our throat. Yeah. That's the stake that I'm holding, because we really aren't joking. It's getting to a point where it's going to, right. This is interesting. This is a social threat of redundancy of the corporate IT department. So what he's saying is that what they're suggesting here is that, because redundancy in the UK, which is, the global blah, 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 redundancy means you're out of work.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So threat of redundancy of the corporate IT department. So they're saying if you get rid, you're going to need the IT people. This is my guess. You're going to need the IT people to implement the thing that will take their jobs away.
Right. And how are they going to go along with that? Or are they going to, burn their looms or whatever?
Burn their looms. Yeah. Show title: Burn their looms. burning the looms.
Burning the looms.
Yes. Yeah. Loss of, and then this is the final social concern, right? Loss, and this is what I love too. See, in their language and in their Wikipedia and all the rest, which I'm sure is heavily curated by people invested in this organization, and who everybody wants to play along, whatever. So, but they put the loss of many jobs to automatic processes and IT controlled processes, especially for blue collar workers, in the social arena, not the economic.
Right.
So you're this little social animal scurrying around trying to make sure your kids live in a neighborhood that's safe and go to a decent school and all the rest. That's a social concern to these people.
Right.
That you can't make a living now with two so-called blue-collar jobs in the household and raise a family.
Right.
Crazy.
Like if we you could run a perfect zoo if it wasn't for all these pesky animals.
That's exactly right. If it weren't for these pesky Americans and their ideas of freedom and their weapons and all the rest, boy, we'd be 30 years into the future if it weren't for this darned Constitution. This Bill of Rights is a real problem. So this is crazy. This just seems to be some one dude's kind of idea,
I wouldn't think much of it if it wasn't behind the Davos thing, which you do hear about every year and really seems like a conference of like movers and shakers,
Yeah, I'm looking at, there was something else that I saw on this page. The fourth industrial revolution marks the beginning of the imagination age. And there's a link to the imagination age. What do you think about that?
Oh, God.
Yep.
I got a feeling that whatever their definition of imagination is, I'm going to be generous here. It is not my definition of imagination.
What is your definition of imagination? Because the first thing I think of is Terry Gilliam and Time Bandits, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's imaginative.
That is imaginative.
Creative. It's an evergreen movie, a classic.
Fantastical. I remember when and this is a brief sidetrack, but I think about it all the time. When I started my current day job, I had a lengthy discussion with the guy who hired me. He's a guy who actually personally knew David Foster Wallace, just like coincidentally, even though he's got nothing to do with that world. Anyway, so we were talking and you know, telling him my background, being honest about it as a writer and having an MFA, and you know, why I had these huge gaps in my engineering, whatever, blah 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 blah. And you know, he said, "Oh, you seem like you must be a pretty creative guy." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess." And at some point later in the conversation, he said, "You know, sometimes the work we do requires some creativity." And I thought, "No, it doesn't." It might be intellectually challenging. It might be, you know, and not to say it's all terrible, but like it's not creative.
It's not
creative,
like writing a novel.
No, creative isn't like you add up numbers and come up with a number that works. It's not.
No.
Yeah,
it's a certain kind of madness that you have to indulge in yourself.
Yeah.
Anybody who tells you you have to work on your craft, yes. But if you don't have that divine spark of madness inside you,
right,
the art's going to be flat.
It's bundled up with the soul.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, and certain people are better at letting it come out than other people, for sure. But yeah, well, the imagination. I almost think of as like a internal and yet somehow shared dimension that you can actually like interact with.
Well, this is maybe not that far off. So do you know who Charlie McGee was? No. I think I maybe had heard the name. In any case, so the imagination age is a theoretical period beyond the information age where creativity and imagination will become the primary creators of economic value. In contrast, the main activities of the information age are analysis and thinking. Well, according to this, we should absolutely lean in to the Davos set, because it sounds like they're going to bring us into a halcyon future where artists such as ourselves, Brad, and podcasters will be the primary creators of economic value. The concept holds that technologies like virtual reality, user-created content, and YouTube will change the way humans interact with each other and create economic and social structures. A key concept is that the rise of an immersive virtual reality, the cyberspace or the metaverse, will raise the value of imagination work done by designers, artists, etc., over rational thinking as the foundation of culture and economics. Well, I think there are a lot of musicians whose music you can find on Spotify who probably disagree with this.
Yeah, who are also bartenders.
Right. Yeah. Some argue that the imagination age has already started, given that imagination is the most valued skill in our modern society. Bullshit. Total, complete rubbish.
Yeah.
It's what this sounds like to me is the carrot that they're dangling in front of us as they destroy the working class. Right. And they ascend to their Mars rover colonies in deep space of the near future.
Yeah, and it's like, enjoy your magic. What is that thing in like the 1600s, the precursor to the TV, where it has a light in it and the thing spins around?
Oh, the magic lantern.
Yeah. We're gonna go live on Mars. You enjoy your cybernetic magic lantern.
Right. The first thing they're gonna set up on Mars is a podcast studio.
Right.
Because the imagination is what matters.
Right.
The first thing on Mars is going to be the Cumtown guys. It's going to be their children on Mars talking about doing Cumtown bits.
Right.
And it's going to be, for the ladies, it's going to be a true crime podcast on Mars.
Yep.
Because that's what we need to do. We have to colonize Mars to send better podcasts down to Earth.
Yeah.
Because because as it says here, the imagination age is going to be where creativity and imagination will become the primary creators of economic value. And some argue we're already there. Yeah. Cool. All right. I'll just wait for my check here.
Yeah. When that shows up, that'd be great. Anytime. Yeah. I don't buy it. I mean, I feel like more people are probably creating, sharing, and engaging with creative work, but I don't think it's any easier to monetize than it ever has been, really. You know what's, because I don't just want to sound like a bitter old guy here, but you know what's crazy is that you get into this, and now, because I'm still in the Wikipedia, I will get off so that we can kind of, I'll get off Wikipedia so we can kind of go back and forth here, but you're on the page. One of the see also links is Indigo Era, which sounds to me like the Indigo Children, and indeed it is, which is very
The Indigo Children is very woo-woo and far out.
Yeah.
It really does only take you a few clicks from these seemingly professional people until you're at Burning Man with them.
Yeah.
They're half naked and telling you about their ayahuasca trip. But in public life, they have this front-facing look because it's expensive to go to Burning Man every year.
Right.
Yeah. Fascinating. So there's something called the Indigo Era. It's a concept first published in 2016, always by international businessman Mikhail Friedman, the co-founder of Letter One, an international investment business.
Okay.
Just like what? He used the term to describe what he views as an emerging new era of economies and economics based on ideas, innovation, and creativity, blah, 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 which he sees as replacing economies which are based on possession of natural resources. The word indigo was initially chosen based on the term indigo children, which has been used to describe people with unusual and innovative abilities. They're just grabbing words from the air and doing it and having ghostwriters write books and then having conferences every year to raise their profiles so they can invest in the next TikTok or whatever is coming along.
Okay. Meanwhile, where they're actually making their money is coming. Those individuals, where they're actually making their money, is probably from like real estate holdings, investments in like
oil, energy.
Yeah, that's where all their money actually comes
and somebody controls the infrastructure that moves all this stuff around. One of the reasons Amazon is as big as it is because it sells web services. There's a real thing going on behind all of this. And it just smells like a bunch of hooey to me.
How much oil money does it take to have a conference about the Indigo Era?
Right, exactly. Yeah. How much legacy family money going back to the era of slavery, usury, et cetera, does it take to live in Paris, summer in Nice, and you're in Switzerland, and then you have a place in New York. All of this stuff doesn't come from the who has the luxury to sit back and the Indigo Children really are going to create the future. It's going to be wonderful. Right. It's just a bunch of, it's the same. And they it feels like leisure domain. It feels like the magician has his hand over here while he's picking your pocket. We're going to automate all the jobs, but don't worry, your children are going to.
Don't worry, we will own a car that you can periodically rent from us that will drive you to where you want to go.
That will play the Come Town 2.0 podcast from the moon.
Right.
Oh no, Mars. Sorry.
Mars.
We're all going to Mars. See, my favorite thing about all this stuff is how then you look around and materially around you, the world is in a paper shredder. It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Americans can't get health care.
Yep.
The universities have been proven to be this completely corrupt institution. There are fewer and fewer institutions to hang your hat on in the country.
Yeah.
We can't even.
You got to keep inventing new forms of, I don't want to say accreditation, but inventing new forms of imprimatur, right? Of like
imprimatur.
Imprimatur. There you go. We're part of the World Economic Forum. Aren't you just a bunch of guys with a bunch of money? Like, really? Are you really?
And you all went to super elite schools. And, but you're diverse too. But you all went to super elite schools. And blah blah blah. Yeah, it's just power, and this power needs a way to be funneled and moved around. And people do need ideas about the future in order to envisage it. But I'm really not that interested in what these economists have to say anymore. I'm just not. I look around, my material circumstances in the United States and the situation that we're dealing with now with COVID. And I don't believe anyone. I don't trust anyone in a position of power or authority at this point.
No. Well, you see when things, you start to see as time goes on, you start to see the disconnection between all of the respected economic markers and then the actual situation, right? So, stock market went up to 30,000 or whatever, and or the Dow went up to 30,000. So what does that even what does that even mean? How does that have
people who are veterans, Korean War veterans, World War II veterans, who we're constantly paying lip service to, have been dying alone in hospital this year because their loved ones haven't been able to visit them due to the COVID tyranny, the restrictions.
Right.
And
And
You're
meanwhile, American billionaires have added something like $1 trillion to their overall worth. And
and we do nothing, and we sit on our hands,
Right.
and they allow us to tell,
Right.
we allow them to tell us that we can't go here or there. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, this has become, are we still even allowed to travel internationally?
I mean, you can't go to Canada. I know that. I don't know about other countries.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I need some poutine.
Yeah. Well, I was supposed to go to Canada 2 weeks ago for a very exciting trip, and that's had to cancel that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if that comes back.
Is that one of your special trips, Brad?
Yeah. I was gonna go have a little ceremony, and
You're an Indigo child.
I am an Indigo. I guess I am an Indigo child. Yeah.
Where is my check? That's what I want to know. And I didn't even get the $1,200 check. I guess I
didn't
myself
either.
as somebody who makes money. No, I make too much money. Yeah.
Apparently, maybe I didn't I don't know. The IRS, like when I tried to get it, the IRS basically pretended like I didn't exist.
I
They were
love
like, we can't find you. Like, how do you know where to send all my shit? Like, how do you know?
Yeah, they'll
Like,
definitely
they
find you if you
every
stop paying.
Yeah, how do
They
you?
will find you.
Yeah, they literally, the IRS website said they couldn't find me.
I was trying to reach the IRS one day for some urgent documentation. We were trying to buy a house. We're going to buy a house next year, but I quite literally could not reach them. And I had gone through. You can look up online. There's a cheat code to reach the IRS, to try and reach a human. You have to do a certain methodical set of things. It's very tricky. You have to get through like 4 different branches of the sort of phone logic chain, and then you have to let it ask you a couple times, and it works. But then you're like, hey, it says, hang on, we'll get you to someone, and then it rings a few times. There's music, and then it goes, we're sorry, because of call volume, we can't answer the phone.
Right. Like 3 people in the country managed to get through it, and the volume of calls is just
right. You're supposed to get up in the morning at 7 a.m. and make that phone call.
Yeah, I have this feeling that in all of the IRS offices, there's just like one phone.
Yeah, it's like the end of Brazil.
And it's not even the phone that's got all the different lines on it. You remember those that have all the little lights?
Mm-hmm. No, it's like literally an old Bakelite phone. But it's connected to Wi-Fi.
Right.
Yeah. They call it the Schwab, the Herr Schwab. You're trying to reach. I cannot, I don't want to pick on this guy, although it's just like you puff yourself up to be this thing, and then people have to go and actually live in the world. And it is surreal. It's a surreal disconnect. It's this cognitive dissonance that they're shoving down our throats, that this bright new future, this brave new world is coming.
Well, I got to say, so we're talking Thanksgiving Day and talking about, things you're grateful for. And one thing that I like to sometimes think about in terms of gratitude is it's really easy to be grateful for the good things in your life, and you should be grateful for them. I think it's healthy psychologically, spiritually, to remember that you're grateful for good things. But sometimes I'd like to think about what is it in negative aspects of my life that I should be grateful for. And as part of my, line of work, I go into literal sewers with feces in them. And
hey, don't talk about the show like that.
Yeah, with the shift in the meaning of literal, you got it like actual
littoral, like the ocean.
But what I realized about doing that, and the fact that somebody has to do that, and then there are people who have jobs related to mine that are even worse, who have to go in there and like spend all day doing construction work under these conditions and that sort of thing. And it's necessary for the world to function, basically. One thing I'm grateful about for all those experiences is it really makes me laugh at these like futurism, like we're going to plan the whole world kind of thing. Because I just start thinking about like, well, you guys know when you flush the toilet, it's got to go somewhere, right?
Right.
It's like there's a real world that you have to interact with, and people crap and pee and sleep with people they shouldn't. They get addicted to drugs, and they
spend all day on Twitter.
Right. And they steal and they lie and they all these things, and none of these sort of totalizing visions of how the future should be do a very good job whatsoever of dealing with that grit of actually having a human society.
Maybe that's exactly what I resent in this, is that it is kind of the Disneyfication of corporate culture. It's this whitewashing of things. It's you take a rodent and you turn it into this children's icon. You take this dirt animal that in nature you would, if you have mice in your house, you go, let's get a cat. We got to get rid of it, and you take it in and you make it this antiseptic thing. And those websites in their language, everything is so antiseptic and neutered and inhuman. And then they talk about creativity, and it's like, have you read a novel lately? Have you read any classic literature? It's all about affairs and death and murder, and that's what people want.
That's what people want. So if you make so in your future vision where everything for them creativity is like, and not to denigrate this as creativity, but to them creativity is indistinguishable from like
economic value.
Well, the economic value, but also like design, which again isn't bad. Then there's a lot of talent and thought and craft that goes into designing things, but that's what I think they mean by creativity.
Right. And also like organizational structure is created. You are telling me you have found a way to increase value by 80% by destroying these 4,000 jobs? You are a creator. Good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And you're telling me but you also built the housing, and you put these people on UBI, and you're a thinker at the WEF forum, and now we're going to give you a keynote, and you can fly here, and you'll never have to see the peasants again.
Right.
I mean, it's so clearly classist and ridiculous for those of us who have to live in reality.
In the actual world,
This is one of the things about universities that they've done. See, I think a lot of my experience is colored, of course, by the fact that I went to this urban campus. I went to the University of Minnesota. You walk off campus, you're off campus. The campus is inside the city. It's not some cloistered away thing. If you want to have a fun day in LA, go to the USC campus and watch these young people, these beautiful, gorgeous, tanned young people, and then take a walk like 1/2 mile north of campus to Skid Row. The dissonance is just absolutely brutal. And I don't know, do they have a plan for this? No. It seems to me that these futurists, et cetera, it's like they're putting all their energy and all their stuff into this future that it just doesn't feel like we're all going to get. It feels like we're not all invited to that party.
Oh, the vast majority of us are not invited to that party. I mean, you got to decide whether you would even want to be invited to that party or not.
Right. I'm sure the music sucks.
Right. But it does make one slightly resentful that that's not even going to include you by any means, or anybody probably.
You're there, but you are on the periphery.
Right.
And if you have a job at all, it's going to be degrading as hell.
Yeah.
And monitor you.
Right.
But this is, and then if you also really want to get angry, you may skate by, but your children and their children may not. And so these people have ideas about what your grandchildren are going to do with their work life.
Right.
And I don't know that I like that.
No. Yeah. It's all very. They're really good at trying to have a facade of
benevolence and
benevolence. But it has all these dark implications that I don't think you've got to scratch that deep to start to see them personally, but maybe some people think.
The more governance is globalized, the less say you have. So if you have an idea of democracy, whether you're on the left or the right, if you have this American ideal of like we're a republic but we do democratic votes, and then we have system's a little Byzantine, right? It's not straight up down, but if you have any illusion to that, these people they're technocratic globalists who
you don't fit into their spreadsheet, man. Like you really don't.
Not as nicely as they'd like.
Yeah, right. Pardon this diversion, and I hope it's sort of interesting. So when I was at the University of Texas, I took a class on the history of Africa, and it jumped all over the place. And even calling the class the history of Africa is a little denigrating because it's an enormous continent, right? And so it's made up of many histories. But part of it we studied was in Nigeria, in the era just towards the end of English colonization of Nigeria. There was a historical event called the Women's War, and one thing that happened is the English colonial government, decided that they were going to cast a census. They were going to conduct a census, right? So they were going to count every person, and based on the older, I don't know if it was Yoruba that these people believed in, or these older animist religions, counting and revealing to God how many people there were was basically asking for catastrophe. And so when the census started coming up, the Nigerians were not having it. Like, they refused to be counted on these theological grounds.
Wow.
And now, where I'm sort of relating to this, the 1800 census it seems like innocuous. You're just writing people, how many people live here, blah, 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 blah. But the techno-futuristic version of that is everybody is plugged into the Internet of Things, basically, right? Everybody is counted in part of the network, and your location and your weighted value within that system is all known. And so I don't know, I think about like those people in Nigeria. That
little thing. That little thing is, and then, but there was some shaman probably got wicked high and had a vision of the counters, and he said, "We're not going to do it. We're not going to start there, because if we begin, it will end here." It's not that,
right? This leads us to this. Yeah. And so whenever I see, the more we get sort of pulled into the machine, I always think about that moment in history there's some truth to that.
I think that all of this COVID business, the medicalized tyranny that we're dealing with right now, really began after the invasion of Iraq and the surrender of our civil liberties.
Yeah.
They're testing, they're pushing the boundary. They're going farther and farther, just seeing how much. It's a stress test to just see how much you'll accept. How much will you? Yeah, how much can you get away with?
Yeah, no, they push it. You push it up a little bit, and you get some pushback, so you come back, but you never go back to the original position. And then a little bit of time goes by, and you push back a little bit further.
Yeah,
and then you get some pushback, so you come back, but again, not to the same position.
Still taking what do they say? Cthulhu always moves left.
Right.
It always moves to more totalitarian control. He swims left, even though he is this force of chaos. It just can't. It inexorably heads in this direction of control. Right. And the agglomeration of power in a centralized way. So we're still wearing we're still taking our shoes off at the airport.
Right. And so you're still going to be wearing a mask to go grocery shopping in 2022, I think.
I think that it's possible. And I think certainly if it's not at the grocery stores, it will be in places like the airport. You'll be expected to have it. There will all be all these, stratified regulations about it. It's really degrading.
The airport is really interesting, and I'm sure there's been some writing on this. The airport is this sort of societally liminal space where, like, basically the rules don't apply the way they do on the outside world, right? You're under much further scrutiny. You can't disagree with anything, really. There's no room to push back. If you God forbid you do something that delays a flight by 30 seconds, they'll throw you in the gulag. I think a foreign country you're in with different.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I thought about airports and airplanes a lot. And were you talking about planes or airports?
Both, I guess.
Yeah. Airports are this strange dreamscape, they are. I think some of that has to do with the way that airlines are always bailed out. They're seen as some sort of weird hybrid government, corporate thing, and I guarantee they're probably a good investment.
Oh yeah,
you can't lose. It seems like they won't allow you to lose if you invest in an airline. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. What do I know?
This is a little bit of a sidetrack, but not really. I crack up every time I'm in an airport and I see the captain with his little military cap and like the vague.
Yes, it's
actually
very
medals, but there's like a vague militarization, like he's got epaulets or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's like, Captain?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you gotta. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly fly by wire, but I mean, I'm not going to talk smack about pilots. I mean,
No,
you got to
it's not
respect
that they,
that. Yeah.
they do a job that I probably couldn't handle the precision and the stress of it, and I respect
Right.
it. But
It is a
there
little
is like
bit.
a farce to it where you're like,
There is. Yeah. Airplane really got at it, didn't they?
yeah.
Imagine if they. Please don't remake Airplane, but if they did
Yeah.
now, the TSA agents, the whole. Now we've got our metal badges and everything. It's just like, give me a break.
Yeah. And if you
big
didn't know
jobs
better, you would
program.
assume that a TSA agent was like a police officer.
Right. Yeah.
They're
They have some
not.
authority over your life.
They're just like a random they're just like a random person.
Right.
Yeah. They probably
this is where, right. Yeah. Exactly. But this is where, the imaginative future, I still think that they're going to have those little quizzling Stasi types who are going to have to do those jobs for the theatricality of it. Those jobs will probably triple. There'll be more bomb dogs at the airport. There'll be more because they're going to have to keep people distracted and busy somehow.
Yes.
There's always going to be that need. So either they're going to wipe out a bunch of people, or they're going to have to figure out over generations how to control people from having more than one child.
Right.
They're going to have to come down from replacement birth rates. And, or they're going to have to distract people. And it's going to be a war. Of course, we're heading toward, I can't wait. I'm going to say right now on this podcast, I'm putting a pin in it, that presuming Biden takes office, within 4 months, we are going to have the next boogeyman. Because right now,
and so like COVID is the current boogeyman?
No, I actually think Trump is the current boogeyman.
Okay.
Boogeyman, Noriega, Saddam,
an
Gaddafi.
actual person. You're saying.
It'll be an actual person, a boogeyman who does something, probably over in the Middle East, right? Because Trump kind of neutralized North Korea, right? So, but so Trump has been the boogeyman because America always has the boogeyman script running. The American media always has the bad guy, the heel, who or whatnot. And so that's coming, and
that's like a primary. You can't conduct like a narrative engineering that we're trying to do without that. Really, I don't think.
Yeah, it's inevitable, and I don't think if Trump goes away that he can't play that role anymore.
Right.
So, and the same thing will happen to Trump that happens to all American presidents. In 8 years, in 10 years, we'll look back on him fondly, and we'll go, "Oh, what a clown! Wow, he, and his funeral will be attended, and the gravitas, and he will blah blah blah." Yeah. It's just. It's so predictable.
He's definitely going to get a TV show, I think.
I don't even know what does that even look like.
I don't know. Yeah. I had that realization the other day that once, because I don't want to get into the weeds of the Biden Trump. I've been not paying attention to it. I do think Biden is going to end up being the guy in office. There'll be some kerfuffle and all of that, but it hit me the other day that as soon as Trump is finally out, it's TV show time, and I don't know exactly what that is or what it's going to look like.
You say this, except the only reason I would doubt it is that I think we have not seen the last of that family, and I think that the children, anything that might compromise their political future, they'll stay away from it.
Yeah,
but it could be something fun with President Trump and his hotels. There's any number of things they can do.
My wife is convinced, and I think I agree with her that Ivanka Trump is going to run in 2024.
Wow.
And she'll win.
Put a pin in it on the show.
If she ran, she would win, right? Because she would get all of the Trump voters plus some Republicans who didn't really like Donald Trump. You'll get a ton of women voters.
Yeah.
I think she'd win.
Rubio as VP.
She'd have to do some things between now and then to make it happen. She'd have to run an excellent campaign, and she'd have to continue to remain in the public eye, and she'd have to really not drop the ball or anything. But I think it's a real possibility.
Yeah.
She's fairly charismatic. She speaks well. You know what I mean?
Right.
What
might hurt her though is the id poll situation around the fact that by then we're almost certainly going to have a woman president. Because of if Biden gets in, what do you think the chances are? And I mean no ill will to anyone here, but what do you really think the chances are of?
That all felt like the Democratic Party basically saying, "Oh, you don't want Kamala in? Well, she's going to be in anyway."
It was Weekend at Bernie's. It still is. We're watching Weekend at Bernie's here.
It feels like it. It totally feels like it.
I don't know what else to say. And we're still going to have that house party.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, man, house party's a good time. You might as well have a good time.
Well, Brad, our future with the World Economic Forum is probably destroyed.
I think we just ruined our chances. And because they're doing, they go deep on their background checks when you apply.
Sure, yeah. I
Actually,
mean,
just clicking on the apply now, I've already probably had some kind of background check run.
right. They probably know. They're looking at your Google history.
Yeah, there's like a
Yeah.
weird new light next to my webcam that I didn't see before.
It's kind of red. It looks like an eye. It's just so fascinating. I mean, this is just,
Yeah.
yeah, the World Economic Forum. Hmm. Well, Brad, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for your friendship. I'm thankful for the people who listen to Get This. This is Get This podcast.com. It's the show about things people love. Today it was this show, I guess, about our unhinged theories about the World Economic Forum.
Well, yeah, it's what do we so what do we love? We love something in there.
Yeah, I love Wikipedia.
Yeah, there you go.
Always,
There you
yeah,
go.
there's a lot to be thankful for. And look, I am optimistic. I still think we have in the United States, we have the Constitution. We do have certain standards of living and sort
Yes.
of modes of behaving. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to temper all whenever I get like a little ranty. I feel like I need to temper it with like there isn't another time that I would rather be alive.
You wouldn't roll the dice and go, yeah.
And go, yeah, I'd rather. But yeah, there are things that I see that I don't like. I guess. But yeah, it's Kevin, man. Thanks for doing this. I'm grateful for you too, man. I'm glad that I can come on here every once in a while and just like spout my mouth off and that you have me back. And
it's a hoot, man. Where can people find you?
Basically Twitter's the best thing. Brad Kelly, BradKelly on Twitter. And then my website is I have short fiction. I've got a podcast coming out starting early next year, which is basically an audiobook of my novel House of Sleep. I'm writing a monthly column. I don't know if it's a column if you're doing it for yourself, but I'm going to call it a column. I'm writing a monthly tarot column. Second edition will be out in a week or two. And that's all at BradKellyesque, ESQUE.com.
All right. And I'm Kevin Kautzman. This is the Get This Podcast, getthispodcast.com, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. And Brad, I hope you enjoy the long weekend with your family.
I will.
All right, man. Keep an eye out for those lights that turn on randomly.
I will. All right.
Later. Bye-bye.